Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. We're here to celebrate the launch of the fabulous, and I mean fabulous, the Honesty Planner. What they don't tell you about planning a wedding. It's not often that you get expert delivered practical advice, insider stories, and laugh out loud moments. I'm expecting these moments, all wrapped up in one beautifully bound package. But somehow, Susanna Richardson has managed to do just that. Now, if you've ever thought about planning a wedding and you thought it was just picking a venue, choosing the right shade of white, you're in for an education. Our author is not your average wedding planner. She's orchestrated some of the most extraordinary weddings for her clients that are big on taste, short on time, and let's be honest, very private about their wealth. Discretion, absolutely. Drama, only if it's scheduled. The book we're launching today isn't just a guide. It's like having your own person, your own Susanna in your handbag whispering to you. Do that. Definitely do not do that. And step away from the Pinterest board. And what's more, we're thrilled to be hosted today by the Wedding Club because let's face it, if the dress isn't right, it's just a very expensive party. So without further ado, I'm going to dive into some questions that will give us a peek behind the silk-covered curtains of luxury wedding planning. Yeah. We're going to let Susanna Richardson share her stories, wisdom, and maybe just a few things that didn't make it into the book.
Maybe.
Let's get started. So let's get straight into it. Every wedding has a bit of behind-the-scenes chaos. Yeah. Without getting sued, could you share what could possibly go wrong moment that you handled like a pro?
Okay. I mean, there's lots of them. And I think every single event that we do, even though we've been doing it for so long, you think you've seen it all. And then there's something else that just comes out, grenade thrown, and we have to deal with it. So probably one of my worst actually happened last year.
Okay.
And it was at a wedding in Tuscany, and it's a beautiful open air abbey. And I actually took the wedding really late on, and I closed my books. And then this bride got in touch with me, and I said, I've got to do this wedding because it's just incredible, and I've always wanted to work at this venue. And the venue is owned by the Municipale in Italy, so the mayor has to perform the ceremony. And they're quite pernickety Italians I don't mind me saying that, and you have to kind of go by the rules and do everything. So we had this beautiful design done and we sent it into the office and it all got signed off and it was all great. And you have 45 minutes to set up.
That's rapid.
Yeah, so we had to kind of gauge what the bride wanted versus what we were able to do in 45 minutes. And we just finished setting it up. It looked incredible, and the mayor turned up and basically, in Italian, I don't speak Italian, started shouting that we hadn't got permission for anything. All the flowers had got to go. Everything had got to come out. She wasn't going to perform the wedding unless everything was taken out. We got an 8-piece string. What's that? Quintet? Quintet? Yeah. They were there, and she was like, they've got to go. They've got to go. None of this. You're ruining the building.
And this is minutes before the wedding's going to happen.
We'd just finished, and we'd got a call to say that the guests were on their way. So as guests were arriving in, the mayor got in her car and drove off. So I'm just standing there going, fuck. We've got a load of guests.
Do you know how to say that in Italian?
No, unfortunately, I know to say nothing in Italian.
I think it might translate.
We have Italian speakers with us. There's always a couple of Italian speakers on the team. But I was like, well, I'm going to have to marry them. So I'm going to have to stand up there, marry them, and then they're going to have to fuck off to the registry office afterwards and get married back in. I can't remember where they were from, but get married back home. And then fortunately, so we're kind of going through all of this. I messaged the girl that was with the bride and said, just to let you know what's happened, I'm going to come out and speak to the bride and tell her. And fortunately, she turned up. But the other thing was this venue was supposed to be closed to the public. and they didn't close it to the public. So just before, so we'd solved that problem. The bride has turned up. There's a load of people there. So, I mean, we're talking like hundreds of people are there. And there's a fucking Bernese mountain dog sits lying at the top of the aisle. And
Which was just some random person who'd come with their dog.
With their dog, because they all bring dogs. I mean, I love dogs. It was incredible. But it was just this most kind of surreal, and the videographers, so in post, the videographers were taking everybody out and getting everybody out. But at that point, we were just like, well, thank fuck. So I went out to the bride and said, look, this is what's happened. There's loads of people in there. All the villagers have come out to see you get married, and we've decided to find it charming. And she was like, okay, that's fine, and walked in.
Well, it did sound like you handled it like a pro, that's for sure. I'm still unclear why the mayor left.
She just had a massive strop and said that we hadn't got anything signed off.
But we had
the florist had sent her. We'd actually had a meeting the day before with somebody from her office and had walked through it, and all of the tech company, because we'd had to have a load of tech put in, and they'd walked through it, and it was all fine, and she just decided to have a massive strop.
Well, thank God you were there to manage it.
There's nothing you can do when you're dealing with people.
There you go. And was it stories like this that made you think, I've got to write these things down? Because how on earth could you even think the possibility of that, and then yet how to deal with it? Is that what made you write the book?
I think so. And I think as well, for me, a lot of it was the fact that, especially in the world we live in now, we see so much of the gorgeous and the gloss, and we don't see any of that amazing stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And so I think there was a lot of that. I kind of wanted, so hence it being like The Honest Planner. I wanted it to be very honest. And also, there's a lot of gold that happens behind the scenes. I think people probably would have expected me to write a tell-all. So I always say that will be my deathbed memoirs.
You don't come back from that.
Yeah, that's kind of, my career's gone. There's nothing left, and I will tell all of that. Well, I don't think I ever.
I don't think you will.
But yeah, I mean, there's that. But yeah, and also I think, I don't know, I think I've been in it for so long. I've been in it for 24 years. And I was feeling like a lot of the fun was going. And my team on site are just incredible. And we have so much fun. And we laugh. Even when things like that happen, we laugh so much.
Yeah.
And I was just feeling like so much of that was going, and it was becoming so contrived. And I think people need to remember that it's about love, it's about connection, it's about having fun. And that was being lost in the world. So I think that was a big basis.
And that really comes out in the book. You come back to that over and over again. And you talk about your role and how that's what you orchestrate, and that's the environment you create about the couple that are getting married, for them, about them and for them. And even though they're your secrets, it's always about them. Yeah. And I think it should be. I think I say it in the book, actually. I allow one diva in the room, and she wears a big puffy white dress, and that's it. I don't really allow anybody else to have their own agenda or do anything. And they're kind of values that I hold dear, really. So yeah, and I think adding in, some of the funny stories are really good. It really helps. And talking about those funny stories, because there are kind of common themes, aren't there? Because you've planned weddings for people who've, they own islands, racehorses, possibly, other things we can't even imagine. Small countries, I don't know. Yeah, what's the one thing they have in common when it comes to wedding planning panic?
I think being looked after. I think they need to know that everything is looked after for them, and that there's people around them that have got them. I don't know really with because my clients don't actually panic. I panic.
Well done.
I panic all the time. But my clients kind of don't, because I think because we preempt everything that can happen beforehand, you know, like even when I'm dealing with the girls here, I've kind of, before we bring somebody in, I've spoken to them about the person. I know things that they're going to be funny about. I know if they don't like the shoulders. I know if they don't like certain things. So because we're one step ahead, my clients don't tend to panic, which is probably quite good.
And that's one. So the commonality is your process.
I think so, yeah. And just being one step ahead and being a bit of a mind reader and a psychologist.
It's a pretty long list of tasks you have to be.
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
And that brings me on to the question of what is your favourite thing about planning a wedding, the element? What is it part of the process? Is it the day itself? Is it being the psychologist?
I think for me, I've always loved people. So I started working in restaurants. So that was my well, actually, my background is probably I started working in the local pub and then I worked in restaurants. So I just love people, and I love the things that make up families and working out what's going on in families and working out what people are like. So I think for me, it's seeing their relationships. So I talked about it recently. So I know not everybody's got a dad, but I love brides and dads. Yes. There's just that kind of wonderful moment when dads see brides in their dress for the first time, and they're not involved in the process really. Mums are a little. So that's lovely. And I didn't have a dad. But for me, that's something that I just makes me cry every time when they see them. And I think the ceremony and people's relationships and learning what makes people tick and what they love, and I mean it's an incredible job. I mean it's an absolute it's stressful, but it's an incredibly
delivering
job.
What they love. That's the thing. So it's not just seeing it and knowing it; it's then realising that for them.
And also doing what they don't know that they want.
Yes.
I'd imagine it happens. Well, I know it happens here a lot because we have it happen. I think in my whole career, I've had 2 brides who've bought the dress that they thought they were going to have.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So normally they go in with an expectation of it's going to be this time. I've looked on Pinterest. I've looked on Pinterest. I'm sure it's going to be this.
Yeah.
You, as a professional friend, say,
I love that.
Just do me the favour of just try this.
Yeah.
Because you've got to know them.
Yeah.
And then, with the exception of 2 occasions, they've said no.
Yeah, and I think it's like that with their weddings in the whole. I think you kind of have to, it's reading between the lines. It's the kind of getting to know them and the little nuances and going, actually, they've said they want that, but I don't think they want that. I think they want this. So that's what I love. And obviously, there's the creative. I mean, in my heart, I'm a creative. I love the design. I love coming up with mad shit and just going with it and making stuff. And
can you give me an example of some mad shit you've come up with?
Oh God, there's so much. To be honest, most of the mad stuff comes from parties. Yeah. Because I think people are quite scared with weddings. So yeah, we do some phenomenal stuff with parties. Just designing things and coming up with fabrics and having people create stuff for us. And we build sets. So yeah.
You really realise people's visions and deliver something more than they thought.
Yeah, and I like that. I'm very much an under-promiser, over-deliverer. So I like people to underestimate me.
Love that.
That's my big thing.
And that actually leads very neatly onto a question that I wanted to ask you, which is kind of the red flags to look out for if someone is thinking about choosing a wedding planner. Because everything that you've described there, I'm like, tick, tick, tick. That sounds absolutely amazing. Yeah. You know me better than I know myself. You're giving me choices. You're delivering me things I never would have been able to even creatively come up with, let alone execute. Yeah. So what are the red flags? Because I'm sure it's very easy to promise those things, but it sounds like it's very challenging to deliver.
Do you know, I was thinking about this because I don't know how I would if I was a bride in this new world that we're in, and I was faced with choosing someone, I'd have a really tough time choosing a planner, because I think we're programmed to look on Instagram, aren't we? We look at the 4 or whatever they are, if you see 6 little squares. So I would find it quite difficult. So I guess it's looking beyond the gloss and knowing that somebody has got your back. And I think asking people those questions, because I don't care what anybody asks me. Anybody can ask me any questions. I'll always be really honest with them. And I think asking people those kinds of things, like you've said, what's gone wrong? Talk to me.
Yeah.
What's gone wrong? How did you solve it?
Yeah.
Because lots of people would be embarrassed by things. I mean, I love stuff going wrong. That's where I kind of live
You
and
thrive in the drama, don't you? I can tell this about you.
We absolutely love it. I mean, it's awful. It's awful at the time, but then afterwards you're like, yes, I did that. That was amazing, and we've got a solution. So I think asking people those kinds of questions. I think looking at experience. One of the things that I think is incredibly difficult at the moment is this styled shoot thing. Can you
talk about that a bit more?
Yeah, so there's a lot. So what lots of people do now is they'll set up a styled shoot, and they'll go to a venue and they'll decorate a table and they'll dress it and they'll have models there.
So it's kind of mocked up.
Yeah,
I don't want to say faked, but it's not a wedding.
Yeah, so the general basis of styled shoots is to sort of do them because you might have a design in mind that you want to do. Yeah. Nobody's going to do it, so you do it. But what's happening now is they're being kind of shown as being real.
Okay.
So I had it recently with a photographer. A bride sent me a photographer and said, "Oh, I love their work," And I said, "Well, none of that is real. None of that is a real wedding. So you need to make sure that they can shoot in a live environment."
And how were you able to tell that? Because I'm just thinking about what I scrolled through, and it all looks incredibly professional and beautiful. What are the little tells?
Yeah, I suppose it's like in anybody's industry. If you've been in it long enough, you can tell, can't you? There's no guests for a start, so there's never any guests there. They look like models, but then so many people look like. I mean, most of my clients look like models, so that. But yeah, I think guests. So I think taking that as an example, you need to see a full gallery of somebody's wedding.
Of course.
So if you're choosing a photographer. But yeah, I think it's talking to somebody, asking the right questions, asking them how they deal with things that go wrong, I think is a huge one. Because if any planner sits with you and says, "Oh, nothing ever goes wrong at our weddings,"
that's the red flag.
They're lying.
Yeah.
For me as well, I'm a bit on the fence on this one because I think there's a contact, certainly in the higher profile, people contact, and I'm a bit, and so I'd say on Instagram, if they hear they're engaged, they contact them. I'm a bit funny about that. That for me would be a red flag, but I guess for some people it's not. So that for me would be one. But I think just having an honest conversation, and I think as well making sure that somebody. So my weddings, I don't always have to love all of my weddings, the design of them. I don't have to kind of walk away and go, "Oh, I love that," because I'm not going to love everything because I'm not doing it for me.
It's their day, not yours, right?
I'm creating your wedding. So I can have a discussion and say, these girls or these guys here will know because I do it here. I would look at it and say, that doesn't suit you or that's not the right one for you. But if they love it and that's what they want to do, we've just got to go with it and make it work because it's not about me.
Yeah. And I think testament to this, and I'm going to volunteer it to you because you talk about it in the book, is if someone is thinking about working with you or any other wedding planner, whomever it may be, the opportunity to talk to past customers, that opportunity to say, actually, how was Susie in real life?
Yeah.
And there's a red flag if they either haven't got people that you can speak to, I would say.
Yeah.
Or if everyone is a member of their family.
Yeah.
which can be the case as when people are starting out.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really important, because it's such, I find it quite funny sometimes that people don't put a lot of effort into that. They just go by sort of maybe Instagram now, because I do with I mean, there are clients who come to me and I'm like, yeah, no, we're not going to get on. We're not going to work together very well for 2 years. And I would say no to a client. So
it's the honest planner.
Yeah.
You're honest.
Well, yeah, because if we're not going to be able to work well together for 2 years, it's going to be an absolute disaster. And I'll go, do you know what? I'm not the right person for you.
Yeah, I love that.
You need somebody different. And I think clients aren't doing that enough.
Yeah. So you would really encourage that.
Yeah, definitely.
Have the conversation.
Yeah,
take a minute, speak to a few people, find the right person. Now, we just talked a minute ago about, you said sometimes you do have to go like that. Look, that just, my opinion, that doesn't suit you. And your opinion is you've got a lot of experience behind you. You know, for a couple of decades without giving away your age.
I'm so young.
Exactly. But what I want to talk to you about, I want to talk to you about particularly dresses, because we all know the dream dress from kind of media portrayals and movies.
Yeah.
It can turn into the drama dress. So what's the most outrageous wedding dress moment you've witnessed?
In terms of what? Something going wrong or something happening, or
just something where you've managed it. You've had to manage something about the dress that's really taught you a lesson that your new brides who are coming to you help them with.
So probably, I mean, we've cut dresses. So we've cut dresses for the evening, so they can't dance in them. They can't move in
So
them.
this is something that's so tight they go dancing.
Yeah, or it's so huge. So the bottom is just so huge that they can't kind of do anything in it, and they want a party. So we've taken scissors and cut them. That's an easy fix now, because I just make them have 2 dresses.
It sounds like an obvious solution, actually. Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I talk about this in the book. I think one of the biggest things that happens for me with a lot of brides is they lose too much weight.
Okay.
They get so fixated on what they should look like, and they look great, and then they lose weight. And for me, wedding dresses need some shape. They look good if you've got a bit of shape. So I think we do get to that point where they come and try them on and they've lost too much weight. So I try and encourage my brides not to go down that route. But I'm trying to think if there's anything. It's probably done. I'll probably get kicked out of here if I talk about any of them.
Working with the wedding club, obviously, everything they supply is
everything. Yeah, everything. We've never had any problem. Nothing's happened here.
But talking about mistakes that brides do make generally and across the board, and we're with one amazing supplier here. And they have a superb range. You'll see from all their socials just the scale of what they supply. But talk to me generally about the mistakes that brides make when they are choosing a dress, and how can they avoid that?
So I think they get too focused on what they should have versus what works for them, which I think probably comes from a bit of an overwhelm of seeing so much. Because when you start looking on things, so I think there's an element of that.
Yeah, so the algorithms kick in.
And then they just kind of see wedding dresses. A little bit controversial, but I don't think a lot of the time people bring the right person with them.
Speak to that more. Who's the perfect person to come?
So say for me, my mum would have been the worst person to bring to try on wedding dressing. I mean, that would have just been an absolute.
We're not speaking ill of your mum there. No. We're just saying for that decision.
For that decision, you know, she would have had an idea over here. I'd have been somewhere over here. Yeah. We'd have fallen out. It would have got really kind of fractious, and I'd have probably left in tears with no dress. So I think sometimes people make a bit of an emotional decision about who they should bring with them.
Should is the key word
Yes.
there, isn't it?
Rather than being, because oh God, I sound awful, but I've had brides who've come shopping with other people and they've sent me dresses and I've gone, are you actually kidding me? They think you look good in that, because no, you don't look good in that. I mean, they look, they look good in everything.
The name of this book is being reinforced all the time. But that honesty is wonderful. You'd much rather hear it 2 years before than grumbling on the day.
Yeah. So for me, I think that's probably one of the biggest. The biggest thing. I don't know whether anybody here agrees with me on that, or they bring the wrong person.
There's lots of nodding in the audience here, actually.
I think everybody's got people, haven't they, who they trust their opinion, who will be honest with them. And I'm not saying to everyone, but I think when you first start trying on wedding dresses, take those people. And then when you've got a bit more of an idea of what you're going to have and where you're going to go, then involve the shoulds, because I think then you're a bit more confident in your choice.
You won't be so swayed necessarily by their expectations.
Because also, but most people have never tried on who's tried on wedding dresses. So it's such a different beast, isn't it, to anything that you've ever tried on.
And even if you have worn big dresses or something to galas or balls or whatever, to the fish and chip shop on Saturday night, whatever he does it for you, it's not in earnest, it's not for your wedding day.
No, and they fit
very unique
differently.
Situation.
They do think that, because a lot of them have got such amazing structure in them. They do things to your body and they put things in the right places. I actually love. We did Vicky Patterson's wedding last year, and she bought Ercan for her wedding dresses. Maybe got goosebumpy, which I actually loved.
Yes.
Because so my husband is that person for me.
Yeah.
So I think also don't be scared of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
If that's your person, bring them.
Yeah.
Have that right person with you.
That's really nice to hear, because it feels like there are these rules of what it should.
Yeah,
is that word again? Should.
Yeah,
what you should
there are
do.
a lot of rules. Yeah, there are a lot of rules with weddings.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll surprise you, Abby, that I don't really like rules.
I kind of got that from you already. I feel like the audience is really getting a theme of that. Yeah. 2 things: you don't like rules, and you're very honest.
Yeah. I've never been arrested though, so we're all right. But I always keep bail money handy.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Especially in certain countries, it's always good to have a few $100, tucked into an inside pocket. That's fabulous. I want to talk again about. We've been talking dresses a little bit. I want to talk about wedding planners, and I want to talk about the kind of idea of the person who says they just fell into wedding planning after they organised their cousin's wedding, for example. Is that person? They've got experience. They'll have the lookbook with actual people sitting in pews and all the preparation pictures, so we know it's not that stage kind of mocked up shoot. But should there be a level of experience, a certain quantity or variety that we should be looking for when we're looking to engage with a wedding planner?
I mean, I think so. I think anybody who's planned their first of all, I think everybody's got to start somewhere. So everybody's got to get their first clients. Yeah. And you either do that by planning somebody's wedding that you know, or you probably do it for free. So everybody's got to set out somewhere. The thing that I always say is your cousin's not going to sue you. Probably. Well, I don't know, actually. I mean, maybe some of the families, maybe they are. But it's very different when somebody's paying you a large amount of money to work for them versus, I'm going to work for my pal and I'm going to do a wedding on the side. That's very different. And I think a lot of the things that go into wedding planning, you don't see. So I always say on a daily basis, I am part psychologist and part lawyer. I always say part hostage negotiator, because I feel like that. I feel like that sometimes. So it's just this real mixture of things, which I mean, I'm 24 years into it. I don't even feel like I've got enough life experience in it. Because, like I say, everything we do, there's some grenade that's dropped, and I go, I don't know how to do. Oh my god, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal with this. So I think experience is huge. Um, I'm also quite. I was talking to Claire, who owns here, because we met probably 20 odd years ago, and we've kind of come up through the ranks together. And I said to her, I think there's this thing where people now start at luxury. They don't want to be a wedding planner, they want to be a luxury wedding planner. I mean, I've done some awful stuff. I've worked in school halls, and I've put bunting up at fates, and I've done some terrible stuff. I've cut my teeth, literally, kind of. We were saying this, we've like clawed our way up to where we are, and now I get to work on phenomenal stuff. And I think for me, that is so key to who I am and my experience, that actually missing that out and going, I'm going straight to luxury, doesn't work, because the luxury problems need that girl who was dealing with shit 20 years ago.
You've got the grounding of, if it goes wrong, there's one person who's going to fix it, and that's you.
Yeah. And the grafting, because it's hard. You've got to kind of the grafting of it. So it's so I think for me that's key. Just making sure there's some experience behind it.
Now, going back to the book, which I know I described it as fabulous. I cannot emphasise this enough. It is a thing of beauty. The most amazing photography within it. Some lovely quotes that are picked out.
I do love a quote. I love picking the quotes.
You and me both. And some lovely anecdotes and genuinely accessible advice. Basically, loads of really practical tips. When I said it was like having you in the handbag,
when you were saying that, I was thinking, who the hell would want me in their handbag? We're just going around with them all day.
I think members of this audience would. They're all kind of nodding along, going, "That's exactly what they want." But what can you give me a kind of example of a glamour? So it sounds really glamorous versus reality moment that people need to hear, especially when it comes down to how they think it'll look on the day.
Oh my God, there's so many. In the sense of things that have happened to us. So, I mean, in honesty, I don't think there's anything glamorous about it. I certainly don't feel any glamour. I look sweaty. I'm lugging things around. I'm doing stuff. I mean, I'm not, one of those planners who just kind of. I like to be involved. I like to do the worst job. So I don't really see any glamour in it at all. I think there was a brilliant. I mean, we had the 21-hour trip that took us 21 hours to Tuscany with what did we have? I think 320 kilos of luggage. We were like the travelling Kardashians, and we got kicked off a plane, taxi. I mean, just all sorts of stuff. So things like that happen. And I think generally, oh God, there was. This wasn't a wedding, but we had a party that we did. This is going to get me fired by somebody. There was a party we did, and it was a 3-day event. And we'd got kind of events going on during the day, and then events going on in the evening. And the event in the evening, it was beautiful. I mean, it was all beautifully designed, but we'd had a white carpet, and the florist hadn't put thick enough visqueen. So visqueen is that kind of the sticky stuff that you pull off a carpet.
Protective layer.
Yeah. So that had gone, and he hadn't been keeping an eye on what was happening. So it was covered in mud.
Oh no.
So black mud stains. And we'd got the afternoon event was a tennis event. So you'd have loved these dresses. They were like 1920s little tennis dresses. So I've got the whole team in these little kind of cute 1920s outfits. Florist wasn't going to help us. The florist was like, "Yeah, I'm going. I've got other stuff to do. I'm off. Won't work with him again." and he'd gone. So I called to arms. So we'd literally got like 10 of the girls on their hands and knees scrubbing carpet
in their little 1920s
in their
tennis
little
dresses.
1920s tennis dresses. Yeah. So stuff like that happens all the time, and that's the other thing I think that people don't understand is we're left with stuff.
Yeah.
It's I think sometimes because we're the person who's in charge, people just go, oh, there you go then, bye, I'm going now, you deal with it. And you go, it's not my job. So yeah, that's
so the reality and the glamour comes when it's all set and staged and it can be photographed.
Mm-hmm.
The glamour is there, but you haven't seen behind it what it's taken to set it up, to get it to that point.
Yeah, and it's frantic. It's always frantic, even with the best. And that's the other thing, I think, with all the best planning in the world, it's always frantic. I mean, I know like with here, they have dresses sent and they can get stuck at customs. And then you've got people who are coming to do, there's just things when you're dealing with so many people and so many moving parts. It's always.
And how do you protect the bridal party from that
kind of
inevitable chaos?
They don't
That's
know.
what you're doing. You're just shielding it.
You are that. Is it a duck? Swan,
just I believe.
Yeah. And we go, yeah, everything's great. Hi, you're right. And we've got a group chat, and we're like, it's all bad. It's awful. Call to arms.
I think in life, isn't that what we all want to have? That just have someone protecting us from the reality of life.
I often say to my husband, I'm like, do you know what? I'd love a me. I'd really love a me. I mean, I'm not a me. I'm not a me for me at all. I mean, I'm awful for me, but I think God, I'd love a me.
Yeah, I'd love a you.
Yeah,
if we could package you up, if we get a version of you with every book.
Yeah, but not every day though. That's the thing. But yeah, in a kind of work environment, I think. But
I'm feeling the humour when you talked a lot about the humour and how it is, and when you're pulling it all together, I can feel that energy that you've got. And it's really, really nice. And I want to talk about that because what are the tips for making the whole planning process more enjoyable?
I think deciding that you're going to enjoy it, because I do think there's this is slightly off topic, but there's a friend of mine who she's a celebrant, so she does a lot of funerals, and she kind of talks. And I think it's similar, but she talks about grief, and she kind of says a lot of it is a kind of deciding stuff. So you have to kind of go, this is how I'm going to deal with it. And I think it translates quite well to weddings, because I think there's a lot of that emotion involved. So I think you have to decide that you're going to have fun, decide how you're going to deal with it, and not let that negative energy in. Because there's always going to be somebody, and this is a crude expression, but there's always going to be somebody who wants to piss on chips. Always, isn't there? Within our friends. There's always somebody who's going to want to try and ruin your moment and ruin things for you.
And that could be someone, that could be an auntie.
Yeah, it could be anybody. I think if we have close friends, that probably we see different. There's always a bridesmaid sacked. Okay. I've never done a wedding where a bridesmaid isn't
That's
sacked.
very useful to know.
Yeah, because it just brings out the sort of worst in people. Yeah. So I think, just deciding that these things are going to happen and going, actually, do you know what? I'm not going to have that affect me.
And then having a professional friend who's also part psychologist to talk it through with, to determine how do I get rid of that irritant. Yeah. What's that thing that's irking me and stopping this being enjoyable? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I always say my clients come to me with everything. I mean, everything. I don't know why, actually. A lot of my clients, because I've got dogs, and they come to me with then their dog's sick. They're like, Susie, my dog's got diarrhea. And I'm like, I'm not a vet. I don't know what you want from me.
You're giving off such competency vibes. You're so competent in every walk of life. They just presume you'll be able to solve that as well.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be absolutely fine. I've got no idea. But yeah, that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
But I think it's just having somebody who says, this is normal.
Yeah.
This is what happens. There's always going to be somebody who's got an opinion. Mother-in-laws are always there's always a bit of a tricky dynamic unless you luck out. You know, there's always that little bit of a power play there. So yeah, I think you've got to make that decision. And having a united front with your partner, I don't think people do that enough either.
I love that. Yeah, you're in it. You're doing it together.
Yeah,
it's the start of the rest of your lives together.
Yeah,
that's really, really nice.
Yeah.
That was interesting. You just spoke then. You were talking about it can be challenging. We've spoken about when you're in the dress buying space where you're thinking about who you should bring with you. The should versus who you really need to.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of pressure and around one particular dress. And I want to talk about where someone feels that they found the dream dress.
Oh no.
And the tips for making sure it doesn't turn into that kind of nightmare on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't turn out as they want it to. So what's your advice around that?
Oh, that's tricky. So I think when I speak to clients, I always ask them very honestly about what they like doing. So, like I said earlier, I mean, the two dresses thing, I know grooms hate me for that, but it is practical. So if you've got a bride who just loves dancing and she wants to be, you know, grinding on the dance floor, she needs two dresses. That's just a fact.
You can't do that lugging around a huge train.
Yeah. I think it helps. I mean, obviously, I go to different stores. I think it helps having good advice from a store. And I'm not just saying this because I'm here, because generally I wouldn't bring clients here. But the guys here are always very good and won't ever. They'd rather somebody left than talk them into buying something. Yeah. So I think that's key. Is never go into a shop where they're really pushy. And again, I think being honest about your style. And this is never ever going to happen. What I wish would happen with dresses is that they'd buy their dress and then they'd never look at another dress again. But that doesn't happen.
So do people have wobbles after they bought the dress?
I think every single bride has wobbles. Because it can be a year. So you order something and then, like I said to you, it's those blinking algorithms again. They kind of come along and you've been shopping, so you've been looking at designers, and then it's like, oh, if you like that, what about looking at this one, and what about this one? And then you just look at them, and then you kind of forget, because it's maybe 6 months has gone by, and you go, did I like it? Did I love that dress? Because this one looks really pretty. That's I don't think I like lace anymore. It's all plain now. Oh, I don't know what to do. So pretty much every single bride will have those. I dread it, and it's always bride messages me at like 5 to midnight. Yeah. They go, Susie, I've made a terrible mistake.
They can't sleep. Yeah. They've been thinking about it.
Yeah. And I don't think we have many dresses that go under the bus. There's normally, they normally try it back on again and they love it. But yeah, I mean, I've done a few emergency dashes down to London to try dresses on again. Yeah.
And I think it's very important that someone can speak to you and be honest about those fears and concerns, because, as you said, it's almost inevitable that it will happen. But the feeling that they had when they chose a dress, if they weren't strong-armed into it, then that feeling will still be there. Love is love. If you love something, you're still going to love it.
Yeah, and unless you're an absolute idiot who just made a decision for no reason, you've made the decision about that dress.
I don't think your clients aren't like that.
Nobody is, but you've made that decision based on loving it. Yeah. So,
but if they do start having a wobble about maybe the practicalities of it, that's where your advice think about having a second dress. If you are thinking about how am I going to dance in it, or how am I going to move around, or will I be cold in the evening and it's
I think everybody should have a second dress. Yeah. everybody, because it's just not.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great advice.
But no more than 3.
Are we talking about on one day?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of changing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think 2 is the sweet spot.
That's a sweet spot.
If you're greedy, 3, but beyond that,
Yeah.
no.
So ceremony, photos, and then
some people
one for
have like
party.
another change, so they would
Yeah.
do sort of. Generally, they keep. Well, I mean, some of them do like 8, don't they? My brides haven't. I've seen people who've done like 8 changes. Yeah. Just do a shoot. Just do a photo shoot. Yeah, so they'll do ceremony, dinner, and then normally they change for
That's
first
when you
dance.
have the dance.
Yeah. And the other thing that I say with that is make it different. I hate it when they're not different.
Advice. Yeah. So actually, you just don't want a shorter version of the one you've been wearing.
No, because
makes it look like you've cut it with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, and also people, not that it's necessarily for it, because I'm also very much about things aren't for other people, they're for you. But people are drunk, so your guests are drinking. They're quite drunk, so you want people to actually notice that you've got changed. You don't want it to just be, oh, that's just a slightly. You want it to be different. Go dramatic, go different.
I love that.
Have something cool. Have something really fun. So yeah,
it's absolutely great advice. And I think a moment ago you touched on something, which was that you've not had it, but where it's multiple changes. I want to talk to you about that I'm going to call it the Instagram circus.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I know your clients are generally high net worth, and they are famously private. How do you navigate giving them the show-stopping wedding that we've been talking about, with you being the swan in the background, frantically getting everything done, but very elegantly, without making it feel like it's that Instagram circus?
So this will probably sound really contrite, but for me it's heart. It's having a real heart to it. So everything that's done is done for them. So even though I have clients who do really showy stuff, it's got a basis in what they love.
Yeah.
So I think where people go wrong, or not necessarily wrong, but I think where people get carried away is they do stuff that for other people.
Okay.
So it's not about, we love. If you're going to have amazing wine, have it because you love amazing wine. Don't just have it because you think everybody out. You want to be showing on Instagram that you're drinking this bottle of wine. So I think I get around it with that, really. And even when we do some amazing things. Even probably that tennis event that we were talking about, because I think that's probably one, and the tomatoes, that's probably the things that we're kind of most known for. They'd got a basis that was all built around the person. It wasn't just because we wanted to build this massive table and fill it with strawberries and tennis balls. It was all based on them loving tennis and then loving vintage tennis and all of those kinds of things. So yeah, I think it's about getting to the heart of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds to me over and over again that because you get to know them so well, you get to draw out what is really authentic.
Literally everything. Yeah, literally everything.
And then they're not regretting something doing it because, again, the word that they should have done, or it's what's expected, or it's what they see. It's what they're exposed to in every other way.
Yeah.
And these, famously private individuals, they want the memories for them and their loved ones.
Yeah, which I think it's always quite difficult in this world that we live in, because I love that. I love that the things that we do are really private. But then you've got to get other clients. So you kind of go, I need to be able to show that so I could get other clients. But then I love that things are private. So I think that's becoming harder in this world. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, don't you love private things?
Yeah.
I love things that are really private. And
to experience something in an intimate way that only a few of you have that knowledge about
and you share it, and it's just for you, and you've got kind of those people in a room and they've all felt it and they all know it. And also I think people can relax more because it's not going to be, on Instagram. They're not going to be videoed, and it's not going to be all over the place. All the guests can kind of relax into it. So I kind of love it. I love the secrecy of that.
And the attention is to their loved ones, their guests, not to the camera crew or to whomever it is if you're presenting it and projecting it out.
Yeah, and it's about making those things about those people. Because I always say with weddings, everybody that comes loves you. They're there because they know you, they love you, they've seen your relationship together grow. Make it about you. Make it about the things that you love. Don't worry about, if you love. We had it last year. So there was a couple who had bought this piece of land. They were in Bristol, and they were going to build their forever home on this piece of land. So they wanted to have their wedding there.
Great.
Well, no, it was absolutely horrific.
It was. I think what a lovely idea.
Well, it is. The idea of it was lovely. In practice, when we got there, I was like, well, how the hell are we going to polish this turd? I mean, because it was just like this.
I do suppose what works for a building site doesn't necessarily work as the best
So
wedding venue.
The sentiment of it was, incredible, but the practicality. But that's kind of that's a me problem. We've got to make that work. And as it happened, it was lovely because we got time. We grew them a meadow. And then we cut out kind of walkways in this meadow. So I was like, well, let's just work with it. It is what it is. Yeah. We'd got this old building that they couldn't tear down because there were bats in it. So we got this old building and it was covered in graffiti and stuff. So it was just like, do you know what? We've got to just work with it.
Lean into that.
But then I love that because now, they're building their family together. And they're going to build this family home. And that's where they got married.
And every time they walk into their garden, they remember that.
Yeah.
That's their experience.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Finally, because you've given us so much, and there's even more in here. And I'm loving the honesty. If you could give just one piece of wedding advice to every couple in the world, what would it be? And eloping is not an answer.
It's actually a piece of advice that I would give to not just anybody getting married, but everybody. Do you, be you. Love it. Because I think that's the most important thing. And I think as I've got older, God, I'm going to get all teary. I think as I've got older, being you is amazing.
Exactly so.
Yeah.
Oh, Susie. Oh.
Thank you. Oh, I knew I'd cry. I fucking knew it.